Lonnie puts a spot and stalk on a coyote using his superpower.
I don't know how he does it, to be honest with you.
Then Oren and Dakota get in deep with a couple of territorial dogs.
And this dog is just livid with us.
That's all right now on Coyote Culture.
On this day, we're going to a spot that we called earlier this year. We gave it about 2-3 months break, decided it's probably a good time to go back over there. Been hearing some coyotes in that direction.
And we walked in and we thought it was over because we were hunting a prairie dog town and we were setting up and we spooked a coyote, you know, and he was gone. We're thinking, well, there he goes.
Decided to go ahead, go with it anyway.
And we're kind of sitting there just talking amongst ourselves. And all of a sudden, Lonnie just says, hey, there's a coyote up there.
To our surprise, there was another one bedded down.
Me and Missy she was running the camera. I was just along for the ride on this one. We're like, where is this coyote at? We can't see him.
I could see this coyote, but I couldn't get my fiance Missy or Damon on the same page. I finally had this to show them what vicinity the coyote was, and I decided to take matters in my own hands.
Comes up with this crazy idea that he's gonna put a spot and stalk on a coyote that is sunbathing itself, and he tells Missy to stay on this dirt here. He's right there, I promise. So he does. He goes and he walks and he's sneaking up on this coyote, and
I decided to use this big butte in front of me to sneak up a little closer to this coyote. It was a little cold, little breezy that day. I knew I needed to get a little bit closer in order to make a good, clean shot on this coyote. And was able to get within 450 yards of him. I wasn't quite sure at this point if the coyote was still there or not. So I kind of had to peek around the view, peek back. Finally, I was able to see him again. Got laid down, got steady.
Until he shot and the coyote moved, we had no idea he was there. I do not know how he does it. If the coyote got up and left, we probably wouldn't even have known that it was there. And Lonnie somehow, with his eagle eyes, saw that dang coyote.
I think I probably can see coyotes a little bit better than most people. I don't know if I have an eagle eye, but I can see him out there a little ways. After I shot this coyote, I just happened to glance up, and to my surprise, there was another one running out of there. and I wasn't able to get a long range double, but it was still pretty neat to see that coyote come out of nowhere, and that just goes to show you that they may think I have an eagle eye, but I was, 200-300 yards closer and I didn't see this coyote.
The second one didn't work out, but I was still shocked about the first one.
As I so often say, we're not just coyote callers, we're coyote hunters. And to have a successful spot and stock on this coyote just made that hunt that much more great.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you can see them in this camera. It looks like you can. The vertical banks way out there. Those are mirages.
Just look like big, tall, banks and hills and cliffs out on the horizon coming up. And Oren had never seen them before. Oren was more fascinated with the mirages than he was calling coyotes that day, I think.
It was one of the coolest things I've ever seen in my life. I'd never actually physically seen mirages, let alone right there in our area.
It just looks like a vertical sheer wall out
just
there.
just like the Badlands.
That's pretty cool.
That is neat.
In the meantime, we're supposed to be calling coyotes, but we kind of got caught up in the moment. We had a pair of dogs. One gets up and leaves the set and just wasn't even interested at all.
"99% of the time when them coyotes are moving away and going away like that, they don't come back. They know something's up.
Should I take a shot at the one on the bottom? He's in some brush there, branches. It's gonna be tough to shoot through. I'm gonna take him more. Okay. One at the bottom. Yeah, right on one of the trees. Are you on him?
Nice shot. Snow's been awful deep this winter for us. It's been a struggle to hunt anywhere, except for right on trails going in people's places and things like that. But we're getting a few.
We walked into this stand, same type of hunt as our 5 coyote hunt that we seen earlier. This hunt, same deal. We came into a set of guys' cows and we walked out straight over top of the hill from these cows, and we got down overlooking a pretty deep creek, pretty well covered creek, and right away in the stand, a coyote off to our left had heard us, seen us, whatever. And she come out of there and
Straight ahead, I think. Way out there, though. Yep. Eating on a dead deer or something, ain't it? That's a deer.
We start doing some howling stuff. Pretty soon we have a dog talking back to us, and he comes out over the ridge a long ways out, and he comes across a big flat ridge top, and
she was 1,000 yards away out there, and we just kept videotaping her, and you know, she didn't ever really want to leave, but she was just on top of the hill with nothing. And then pretty soon, all of a sudden, she just sits up and turns back towards us, and here she comes on a slow trot again. You know, and I didn't think too much of it. I just thought, hey, hey, we outsmarted her here. Here she comes, Oren. We had switched the call up to a little bit of a bird call, and I thought maybe that's what got her. Well, I'm just taping her coming in, trotting in, trotting in, trotting in, trotting in, and all of a sudden, boom, there's a coyote that just crested the ridge 300 yards in front of us, and it's the big male coyote. I'm just taping her coming in, trotting in, trotting in, trotting in, trotting in, and all of a sudden, boom, there's a coyote that just crested the ridge 300 yards in front of us, and it's the big male coyote. And he was mad, he was upset. We were in his territory and he was warning barking, and warning barking hard.
As he comes in, he's mad. We got the call going, some the call, and this dog is just livid with us, and his hair stood up, his tail straight. I mean, he's just like any other dog wanting to fight. There's another coyote down the draw that actually picks in up into the mix too. At one point I had spotted him, and we kind of had a three-way talk going. Dakota had the call going, he was howling some.
I left the call going, you know, it's something we don't generally do. And the call was loud, and I just left it going, and he stayed there and barked and barked and barked and barked at us, as you could see in the video. And then I shut it off and I challenged at him one time, and here he come down off the hill.
We had the dog on the ridge that was coming in, setting down, coming in, setting down. We worked him for a long time. Then it completely switched gears, you know. Then we went from a coyote being 600 yards away to, hey, there's a coyote right out here in front of us now in shooting range. And
got him into around the 200-yard marking.
We finally get the dog to come in off the hill, 200 yards, presents himself, and then we had a dog to the north of us down in the draw. I take the shot, not the best shot in the world because I was really anticipating getting a second shot at the dog down the draw. You know, rule number one, stay in the scope, kill the coyote. I didn't do that, and that was kind of my fault, but we did end up getting the dog. We still got him down. I looked for the other dog down the draw. He wasn't there. He had already busted out and left and stuff.
We actually walked out, and we were probably sitting on top of a snowbank that was probably 12 foot deep.
Cheyenne River Predator Hunters Follies, take one.
There was a thicket of plum trees, and we were on top of those plum trees sitting. So it was a pretty good drop off, straight drop off the end of that thing.
I'm glad I slid.
What an awesome set. I don't know if that coyote's seen us coming in here or not, but he probably heard us crunching snow.
Walked out across this bottom. Didn't look like there was a lot of snow there at the time, but by the time I got to the coyote and crossed a small creek that he was laying in, I was played out. Picked him up, ended up being about a 37-pound coyote.
200!
Feels like 200 pounds.
Oren said it's about 200 pounds. One time I was probably pretty glad that I was sitting behind the camera and I didn't have to go walking 200 yards in all that snow.
I was exhausted. By the time I got him drug all the way back up the ridge where I met Dakota with the camera and stuff, yeah, he was a large animal to me.
On this stand, we got that coyote to come back again. I mean, so that in itself is just a feat in its own. But the reason that coyote come back is because the alpha dog of the area showed up. You know, I'm guessing that coyote up on top of the hill was a young male, or else it was a female that was with him, and he was definitely the alpha dog of that area. I mean, without a doubt, he was the boss of that area.
The anticipation level there also was really extremely high because this dog was talking back to us so much. Never seen that in person, so that was a great moment.
On the season finale of Coyote Culture,
This coyote showed up kind of out of nowhere.
the team goes big, calling in 6 dogs as they try to put the smack down
You almost wish there was just one.
on some South Dakota fur.
All I could think about is, oh, I hope I get this.
That's on the next episode of Coyote Culture.